29. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22. 21.
20.
19.
18.
17.
16.
15.
14.
13. 12.
11.
10.
9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9.
8.
6.
6. What happened to 7?
7.
5.
4.
3.
2. 1. 0.
They call me Cuba Pete. I'm the king of the rumba beat. When I play the maracas, I go chick chicky boom, chick chicky boom. Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a new part of it. We're just going to add that to the little intro. It's going to be the dancing cat. So we have a guest today. I am recording this podcast format. As you guys that have seen this before know, Beer and Blades is a podcast that I have on Apple Podcasts. So if you are listening to this on Apple Podcast, the video version will be available via a link that will be in the description of the podcast. So let's welcome Seth from We Knife Company, the marketing director. How's
What's
it going,
up?
Seth?
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. I know you're on a phone, so what you can't see is there's a comments list on the side. So if I see anything that I think is pretty interesting, we'll put it up. We'll read that question. But right now, Pretty Fly for a Knife Guy just says, yo, not much
Sounds
else.
good.
I would like to thank my paying member, Todd Cable Guy 1965. He upgraded to the premium membership. So there's like 8 people here. So that's like, that's about average for how these start. So Seth, is it Erkenbrack?
Erkenbrack.
So that sounds very Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota area to me.
Possibly after it came over from Germany, it settled in New York for a little while, and then made its way out west. I'm in Utah.
Yeah, I know where you're at. Because I saw your area code. I have a lot of friends out there. So, but no, it hit me because I'm from Southeast Ohio, and there's a lot of German and Pole and Czech, and it all. I'm like, oh, that name looks familiar. That seems very reminiscent of back home. So, since you started it, tell us about yourself.
I've been with We Knife Company for coming up on 3 years in April. So it's been a awesome ride so far. I'm really enjoying it. It's my first foray into the knife world specifically. I come from the sporting goods and shooting industry. I worked for Sportsman's Warehouse for a few years prior to coming here. I did some work with a shooting range company called Action Target and a precision rifle builder out of Utah earlier in my career. And
I know
also
Action Target. Didn't Action Target have a contract to do a lot of the military installations for a while?
yeah, they do a lot of that. Probably half of their business is military work for different bases around the world.
I think they built our range at 32nd Street that I worked at for a while.
There's a good chance they have a pretty good corner on the market.
So, no, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. It just hit me.
No,
You
it's
said
all good.
Action Target. And I was like, I know that name. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's a great company. It was introduced me to a lot of neat opportunities in the shooting world and in the outdoor industry, and kind of paved the way to get me here, actually, where I'm at. And it's been awesome. I love working for We Knife. It's a fantastic company. It's a fantastic product. And it's been really rewarding to work for a company that has such great product. And I always hear positive things. So, it's not like a range went down somewhere and is, we're dealing with the customer service issues or whatever it is. It's always positive. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've told people before, like, is We Knife Company good? And I was like, I went to them with my knife design. They were like my first choice for offshore. Like once I realized I wasn't going to get it made stateside, I was like, not at a price that was at all even close to fucking affordable. I was like, let me see. I guess We Knife Company is where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So, and I'm good friends with Elliot Williamson, and I had a partner play in it too, because it made it easy, because I just was able to, hey, give me an email or a phone number. He goes, oh, here you go.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of people that reach out to us for to make their designs and to do OEM work. So you should count yourself lucky, as well as the guys over at Fair and Forge, because right now We Knife is not doing a whole lot of that kind of stuff.
no, I reached out to them with another design, and they're like, "We're busy enough. We can barely make our stuff."
Yeah. Yep.
Because they're doing a lot of OEM. I know that Elliot keeps them pretty busy. I do know that for a fact.
He does, and he's one of the few people that we're doing anything for at this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, his designs always sell. It just kind of makes sense. Like people are like, how come everybody loves Fair and Forge? And I was like, have you seen his knives? They always are good.
They make incredible stuff.
Yeah, Elliot comes up with some really good designs.
Mm-hmm.
I have something that's a blast from the past. Speaking of We Knife Company.
Oh, look at that.
I have, and somebody was like, "Hey, how much for that?" And I was like, "That's not going anywhere. They don't make that one anymore."
Yeah.
he's like, so, and I was like, that means I can't get another one, and I really like it. So
and that's
going anyway.
It's pretty small on my screen here. Is that a 70 or
601?
601.
Yeah,
wow.
with the no distal taper, and it accounts for it with that tip grind.
Ah, beautiful.
This thing's so nice. It is such a good knife. Really is. It's the first We Knife company. Like that's the first We Knife that I ever got, and that's why I was like, wow, these are really good. And I've had several since then. So says here, Mike, you should turn up your volume a little bit. Yeah, let me do that because I honestly don't know. All right, Todd, Mr. Long Distance Audio Video, how's that? Does it sound better? Oh, here we go. Rocky, love to you and yours, and I love my new snacks. Get ready. Watch your ears. So let's see. $5. That gets you, I think that's going to get you child bells.
How's that?
I don't want to ring it too much. With a guest, I don't like to ring it too much. I don't like to blow out people's eardrums.
Ring away, man. More cowbell.
Yeah, everybody, more cowbell. I don't ring it for free. Oh, wait, I didn't give a freebie. Here's your freebie bell. You get a free one. First one.
Second one's free.
Well, usually the first one's free. And if anybody gives a big donation, I got a bat. You got to earn the bat, boys. You got to earn the bat. I'm just kidding. So being from the outdoors community, and I mean, yeah, you kind of grew up in New York, right? And then moved out east.
No.
Family.
No, that was like that was many generations ago.
Oh, okay.
So I grew up in Utah.
I know where I know where you're at in the world. So I know hunting, fishing, stuff like that. So I imagine the story how you got into knives is going to be pretty much the same as every other country boy. But go ahead, let's hear how you got into knives. Like, what was your introduction into knives?
So I've always carried a knife in my pocket, right? One of those guys that just always carries a knife. You know, I had maybe 3 different knives for different type clothing types, basically. A big knife, a middle, medium-sized knife, and a small knife. So I always had a knife on me, and it was totally utilitarian. And then obviously used knives for hunting and outdoor purposes and things like that. But I never truthfully understood or knew about this whole world of inside the outdoor industry that's just the knife industry. And I worked at Sportsman's Warehouse for a few years and doing the marketing from their corporate headquarters. And knives was a very, very, very small part of the business. I mean, not even on the radar. And so it didn't get a lot of attention. We didn't pay much attention to it. It was all guns and ammunition and soft goods and things like that.
Like most sporting goods stores. Like Turner's out here has got a small area of knives, and I go and I look at them and I'm like, well, those are all garbage.
Yeah, exactly. But coincidentally, I was friends with Ben Peterson from NASCO. Mm-hmm.
Formerly, what was that? Knife Center? Was he at Knife Center?
Blade HQ?
Yeah, Blade HQ before that. Yeah.
Yep, Blade HQ's in Utah, where I'm located. And back when I was working with Desert Tech, the rifle company, we did a collaboration with Ben and Blade HQ. And that was probably around 2012, 11, something like that. So over a decade ago, and I met Ben, and we stayed in touch ever since. So he was at Blade HQ, then he left. He went out to CRKT. He came back to Blade HQ again. Then he went off and did some other things. In any case, when it came time that I was ready to leave my role at Sportsman's Warehouse, I connected up with Ben again, and also another friend in the industry, Jim O'Young, who designed the knife for We Knife Company, the Synergy.
I know Jim. I know Jim. I've been to several knife shows and met Jim before you started. Like the original Blade Show West in Portland, Oregon. Jim was at that one. He kept telling me, he's like, don't feel bad that your knife lost to a knife that SOG designed. It was supposed to be best new fixed blade, and I'm like, how did I lose to a SOG Seal Pup? I was issued a SOG Seal Pup in the 90s.
Right? How's that even up for an award?
I was like, how's that even up for best new fixed blade? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so you know Jim. I've known Jim for a long time as well. And when it came time for me to make a change, I was just talking to my network, and I went down to the SHOT Show and kind of with the intent of looking for something new. Got an introduction to We Knife Company, very, very briefly there, and then followed up with both Ben and Jim after that, and things just kind of fell into place. The timing was perfect. And they needed some assistance, and it just was a perfect match. It was great.
Yeah, and I have to agree that everyone at We Knife Company, everybody that's associated with it, are incredibly nice. Doris and Angel were the folks that I dealt with at the time, and I guess they've left their roles in that part of the company, are now doing other things. Because I know you said that Angel handles sales now, and she originally was the point of contact for design work and stuff like that.
Yeah, things have changed a little bit. She's the COO and sales manager, so she kind of has her hands in everything, and she's the real glue that kind of keeps everything together. She's incredible. Awesome. Yeah, and Doris is awesome.
She's just and both of them are just these tiny, sweet. You talk to them, they're tiny and they're sweet, but you're like, I wouldn't want to piss them off.
No, they're really good. They're smart. They're really, really good at what they do.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. And people don't realize it's not that big of a company. Like when you look at the number of people you're gonna deal with, there's not that many. It really is it's a lot of these companies that people think are just huge really aren't that big.
You're right. It's a handful of people, a small sales team that's going to be working with all the dealers in that and processing orders. There's a sweet gal named Candy who works there, who handles a lot of the social media stuff, influencers, sample product and things like that. Like you said, Doris is kind of Angel's right hand when it comes to sales. And then there's Bella on the sales team, amongst others. But there's a fairly small team, and Joe, the founder, designs most of the in-house designs. So he spends his time cranking out incredible designs and working closely with his team there. And then there's actually a fairly large manufacturing team in the facility over there. I want to say around 150 people or so.
Well, yeah, and I knew that was big, but like as far as like the people you would deal with, it's a very small group of people. I didn't realize how small it was until we were at I think Blade Show West, and Doris was like, no, this is pretty much everyone. Like
this is everyone.
This is everyone. Like we brought everyone except the people that are making knives right now. She's like, there's one person like answering phones and stuff. So we got here. People are asking how to remove corrosion on a brass bolster. Just wipe it off. Just get a rag and rub it real hard.
Rub some dirt on it.
Rub some dirt on it, or leave it. Leave it. That makes it look better. Not all knives need to be shiny and clean. So let me grab my list because we've already did the about you and how you got into knives, which is I'm a pothead, so that's the only two I can remember because it's the first two. What was your first knife that you ever had?
It was a Boy Scout knife. One of the oh gosh.
Almost like a Swiss Army knife one?
I want to say an old timer with the kind of brown staghorn kind of handle with the two blades and the can opener.
Did it have the fish scaler thing on it? Like the
no.
Fish hook puller and a scaler? I had one of those. I know the one you're talking about, and it was kind of hooked at one end, and it had two blades it had a short blade, like a sheep's foot, and it had like a clip point blade. But then it also had in the middle a third blade that was a bottle opener. Had the little thing, the fish hook puller, and then the scaler on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly. I think that's. I'm older than you, so mine proud. They were like, no one uses this. Take it out.
I did have that on an old Swiss Army though. I remember that scaler.
I have one still.
I think I thought it was a dull saw at the time.
Yeah, right. Everybody, I was like, why does this saw look like that? My dad's like, it's a scaler, dummy.
Yeah.
It's like, thanks, Pop. Thanks for the words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it. I can tell you love me.
Yep.
I got mine out because I still have my first knife.
Nice. So
if you were to, I got this out because you work for a weed knife company and you have a stonefish on your table. You said
I do.
The initials that my father engraved into that knife are in his handwriting. It's my initials. If you look at my logo on that knife, after my father passed, I used my initials in my father's handwriting as my logo.
No kidding. I'm looking at it right now. That's awesome, man. I did not know that.
That is if you look at that is exactly the same logo. It's on both sides of the knife.
That's so cool.
Elliot did that for me. Elliot was like, that is an awesome way for you to immortalize your father. I will absolutely help you with that.
Totally agree.
Jared Converse has asked me this question in 3 videos, and I need to answer it. I don't care what the jimping looks like as long as it's effective. If you look at the jimping in that knife that's in Seth's hand, I like that jimping. It's not going to slip out of your hands. It is very aggressive. Let me give you solo. It's very aggressive. It's just circles that are cut into it, and it's not softened. I also like jimping that is not necessarily that good, as long as the jimping is aggressive enough to prevent me sliding forward. If it doesn't do that, if you can't do that, just don't put it on. Jimping should not be there for show. Jimping is not attractive. It's not aesthetically pleasing. It's a functional item. And if it's not functional, I would much rather they didn't even put it on. That's my thought on jimping, Jared.
And this is a good jimping. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I do too. Like if you've got muddy or bloody or oily hands, that is not slipping. Elliot was like, well, what kind of jimping do you want? I was like, let's think about who I am. And he goes, I know what kind of jimping we're using. Because the customs that I made never had jimping because I just could not get the jimping the way I wanted. I tried a couple with a checkering file and it wasn't deep enough. So it just wasn't what I wanted. Yeah. So I just didn't put any on the customs.
This is like your mud tire jimping. It's like the heavy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's off-road tire jimping. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, and you're not sliding off of that. Like if you slide off of that, the skin's coming with it. It's not going anywhere. Seth, I don't know if you know this, Seth. You are in the presence of greatness. This is Maurice. We're pretty sure that Maurice lives in a group dining in a place that has a group dining facility. Like he's the kind of guy like, no, you need a state-approved guardian. But we love him. We love him. There'll be some weird shit that he puts up.
Awesome. Love it.
Who made the Wii snacks? Well, I think we did. Not me and him.
Yeah, we did make it.
Yeah, them did.
It's the Wii. I mean, we made the SNEX Mini Buster and the SNEX Vision R. So if that's the question, then yes, We Knife made those.
There you go. And there's Maurice. Damn right, Big Daddy. I have an interesting group of people that follow me on Instagram. So, here's one. What knife do you wish you still had that you got rid of?
Great question.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Remember I told you that I am fairly new to the knife world.
I know, and that's why I was like, he might not have like $30,000 of knives in his house.
Oh, I've got a lot more than that, but every single one of them is Wii.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I have a lot of stuff.
I have never gotten rid of a knife.
Really? Damn.
I've given that's not entirely true. I mean, I've given knives away like straight out of my pocket. But they were never, but again, Wii knives that were easily replaceable for me.
Yeah.
I don't have a regret, in giving up something that I wasn't able to get back.
Yeah, I do.
But
I have a couple. They're not like big regrets, but it's just stuff that like,
yeah,
man, I wish I still had that. I've had a couple knives that just like that slid away. I have a knife that the big regret, it got lost. My father and I were fishing one time,
oh,
and it fell out of a pocket. I didn't realize I had a hole in my pocket, and I had it was you probably don't remember this. Simmons, same company that makes binoculars
Yep.
and scopes, used to make folding knives, and they had an old urn, and it was a green. I'm still trying to find one. I would love to find one. And it was a nice little drop point folding knife with green plastic handles. It was stupid sharp from the factory, and I had it for years. And then one time, my dad and I were fishing out at a place called Wills Creek, Ohio, and I slipped and I fell, and I thought I heard something fall, and I didn't realize until we got all the way back to the truck, and I reached down and I was like, my knife's gone. And I was like, I bet that's what I heard fall. And when I reached down in, there was a hole in the pocket. And I figured that there was a small hole. And when I fell, it just ripped the rest away. And
Yeah.
it fell out. But
So sad.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find. But that was Jesus. That was in the 80s. I was like 10 or 11 when that happened. I was little. And I still think about that. I still think about that little green Simmons with the green. I was like, why didn't I use the little green belt sheath for it? Like because I'm an idiot. Because knives didn't have pocket clips back then.
Yeah, man. I remember the first fixed blade I got. My dad bought me a Linder Scout, like a little 4.5-inch fixed blade that I used to wear on my belt when I go to like scout camps and stuff. And man, I thought I was the man with that, because nobody else had a fixed blade. And that leather sheath, man, I was just rocking.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, somebody posted something and then somebody's asking questions, but I don't see. Oh well, it's not that important. People have side conversations in the comment section, and then I'll look in and I'm like, I'm fucking lost. I have to tell you that there's only a couple of Wee Knife Company knives that I don't like. And everybody keeps talking about the Snex, and I think they keep asking because they know I fucking hate the Vision R. That thing is fucking, in my opinion, horrible. That lock, it's got some serious flaws. That lock can easily be pulled back, and if you got big hands like mine, I can accidentally disengage the lock from its and it just flops.
Yeah, I actually watched a video on that.
Yeah.
And I understand your points, and yet I am yet to unintentionally disengage that lock.
It happened to me 3 times, and once while filming, I was like I wasn't trying to do it.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, "Oh, there's no way to do it in your pocket." And I was like, "It happened in a pair." I wear 511s throughout my day. I have several different thickness of pants, so I review knives. I'm like, "How's the pocket clip?" Well, let's see, in and out of pocket. And the way that pocket clip is configured, going into pocket to try and hit that pocket clip, I hit that reinforced area at the lip of a pair of 511s, and it did it. And my people are like, "I don't believe you," and I was like, "Well, that's fine. I don't fucking care if you believe me. I'm telling you that it happened. Like, I don't care if you believe me or not. It's just my opinion. Like, people can love the knife if they want. I don't care. I just personally saw it as a fly. That's one of the few. There was another one that. Oh yeah, I remember what it was. The banter.
No.
I hate the banter.
No, are you kidding?
No, I'm not.
Wow.
I'm like, it looks like a fucking thumb or it's a sharpened big toe, but it's an aesthetics thing. It's a good knife.
Yeah.
Like, it's well made.
It's a fantastic knife. It's actually the first Wee knife that I ever handled.
Really?
Because I was sitting down having an omelet with Ben Peterson, and he pulled out a prototype.
If you ever talk to Ben, I want to get Ben on the channel. It's not anything. It has to do it. You know me. You've met me at the show. I'm 6'3", and you shook hands with me. I wear triple XL gloves. There's some knives that just don't feel right in my hand. The Banner's one. The Koenig Arius is another. I love that knife, but I could never own one because it just doesn't fit my hand comfortably. There's a lot of ergo issues I have with even I love that $1,000 one that's up on the shelf up here, but I would never buy it because it just doesn't feel right in my hand. It just feels uncomfortable. Did you
ever see Ben's Big Banter?
I have not. I've heard of it. I heard about the baby banter, and I'm like, well, that's just stupid.
You're like, that ain't gonna work. The banter's
I'm
too
like,
small.
That's absolutely. Most times, mini knives don't appeal to me. There's only a couple times that I've had a knife that was a mini that I liked better than the original. The Kaiser Roach, the mini Roach. I got to feel the Arius mini. Bill had one in his pocket at California Custom Show, and I was like, yeah, I've never been able to. I've just never been able to carry an Arius or have an Arius because it just the way I push up in on it, it hurts my hand. He's like, well, try this. I had the mini in my hand, and I was like, you're gonna make my wife hate me because I'm gonna spend money on one of these when they launch. So I don't.
There you go. We'll have to get one of those big banters into those meat hooks of yours.
Yeah. I've told knife companies I'll review stuff. Like you don't even have to. You don't even have to like send it to me for keeps. Like I'll just buy. Like if you send me something that's already been beat on, I'll just beat on it some more. Like I don't have a problem with that. Because it's content for the channel, and if I can get stuff in and then get it back to you guys, that's amazing. I love the idea of that, but it's just sometimes it's just hard, and I know it's hard to get stuff out to reviewers and stuff like that. It actually is a pain. I work with Artisan. I have a design with Artisan. They do a good job of trying to get stuff to me, but I mean it's there's so many of us reviewers out there to try and get stuff to.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot, and we love to do it as much as possible. It's a important part of the business, the awareness, and the support of the industry and everything. So, we'll keep you in mind and keep hitting me up. We're connected here, and it's always happy to help.
It's good. I love it when I get stuff that's new. It's good for the channel because it hits that. Like I'm always that channel that everybody's like, "Wow, Mike finally did a video about this knife," and I'm like, "Guys, it's not for trying." I just never get new shit in. I never do. So, Maurice says he loves me.
Do you want to see something new that I'm excited about?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
So you probably saw this. We had some early prototypes at the Blade show in Atlanta. Was the first time. This is the new Tough Knives design.
Oh, Jeff. Uh-oh.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm friends with Jeff.
Yeah. This guy,
Nice.
this is cool.
I like
this
that.
is nice. This is nice. And
that is.
I'm mirrored, so I can't get it to you right.
Right? Isn't it? It's awkward. It takes a while to get used to. Like I don't even think about it now, but before I was like, "Fuck me."
But this one's awesome. It's a flipper thumb stud, and I'm a sucker for thumb studs. So that's kind of my jam. Deep carry pocket clip, reversible, feels really good in the hand. I love the blade shape on it too. So
I do too, and I typically don't like the big upswept butts, but it's got. See, my thing is, I don't like Persians because it's all sweep.
Yes,
I do like that forward sweep, like a buoy or a nice clip point like that.
Yep.
But as long as it's got a flat area where I can do the work that I would do with like a Warncliffe, then it meets some requirements. Because like I grew up in the country, that knife would fit a lot of different tasks. I could use that to pinch to skin with. I could use that to make a tent stake if I had to. Looks big enough. I could probably beat a staple back in a barbed wire fence if I had to.
Sure. Yeah. It's a good knife, and I totally agree with you on that blade shape. This has got just enough of a clip point Bowie style to it that I don't get that Persian vibe, because I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah,
I like this one.
The Persian blades just aren't that useful. I for some things, like if you're processing meat, the big Persian blades are good for big long cuts on pieces of meat. But I don't work in a butcher shop, so
yeah.
Somebody said here, the Altus. The Altus is a cool little knife to carry with no pocket clip, snappy little sucker and capable.
I do. I love the Altus as well. It's one of my favorites in the last couple years.
Yeah, I like the Altus. I'll tell you what. I know it's not a rebranded knife, but I will show you what is currently in my head, tied with one other knife for Knife of the Year for 2022. And of course, I say that it's not here. It's Elliot's. It's Elliot's Aloris. I know where it's at. I changed.
Where did it go?
Changed clothes. It's upstairs on my. It's upstairs on my dresser because
nice.
I always I always have it close. It's like my Norseman. It's probably a knife that's going to be on me all the time. The Ferrum Forge Aloris that he had made with you guys. That thing is great. That is one of the sliciest blades on the market right now.
Yeah, some of those designs that we're making for Ferrum Forge, I wish that they were we or Civivi knives, you know, that we were just making them for us instead of for them. They're that good. I just want them for us.
Like, okay. So Thomas is like, I like the jimping on the sea snake. That's my design with Artisan. Do you like the jimping on the sea snake? I wouldn't have let him put it on it if I didn't. Unless he's talking to someone else in the chat. I actually had to block someone. They were, I don't like doing it, but I can't have, you know, with the politics and everything of YouTube, I can't have somebody talking about communist fucking anything to do with politics. I don't give a fuck what country the company's from. If you got a representative from that company, you don't talk about that shit in the chat. So if you happen to be watching, yes, I did block you. It's been a known thing that I don't tolerate a lot of political stuff in my chat. It's just something it's my channel. I invited you into my garage. Follow the rules or see your way out.
You get to do what you want, man.
Yep. What was this? Reminds me of the Arc Form Catalyst. Didn't we do the production for them? I don't remember. I'm trying to. It sounds so familiar, but I'm also 48 years old. I'm starting to have a failing memory, and I consume a lot of. I hit the giggle grass pretty hard every day.
So originally, this was called the Catalyst 2, but we just changed the name of it. It's no longer being called the Catalyst 2. That's what it was when we brought it to the Blade Show. It's now called the the name's escaping me now.
But that's Tough Thumbs. Jeff over at Tough Thumbs. That's his knife, right?
Yes.
His design. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't recall. I don't know. I wasn't with the company when the Catalyst, the Arcform Catalyst was done. I'm not certain if we made it or not.
It sounds so familiar, and I can't remember. Oh, everybody likes the Peñas. I have to say that the Peñas. Have you seen the Peñas that Enrique Peñas haven't done with Riat? Have you gotten to see those?
Yep.
First of all, like Enrique's knives are great. I love Enrique. He's a great dude. He's a lot of fun to talk to. His knives are amazing. I've had a couple of the ones that Riat are doing. Dave's, you guys, Dave over at Riat, you guys are doing probably some of the best knives offshore right now. Period.
Yeah, I totally agree. The guys in the factories over there, Joe, you know, with his passion for perfection, you know, he runs a tight ship over there, keeps the quality control standards high, and he knows how to make a knife. So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and what people forget is that Dave and Joe were knife enthusiasts, and then decided to take their machining capabilities and turn it into making knives. They're like, I'll just start making knives. So it worked out, and it worked out really well. And in just a few years, they have definitely brought it to, I mean, guys like Jim Skelton are getting knives made with We and Riat and stuff like that. So yeah, there's no complaints on quality on my side. The heat treat on M390 is on point. 20 CV and M390, you guys S35VN, I have to say, oh, pardon me. We Knife Company's S35VN is some of the best heat treated S35VN in any knife.
It's solid. It's really good stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that we take that material too. You know, we source a lot of our material, blade steel and that, from the US, from Germany, from all over, and bring it over to China, and then you know, create some masterpieces and then send it back.
20 CV absolutely comes from I know exactly where that comes from. It comes out of New York because I bought 20 CV from them.
Yeah.
So I know there's only one place you can get it. It's in it was in Syracuse, New York. They're the only ones that make 20 CV, and that's the only place you're going to get it. So what is this? Don't forget the 204p. 204p M390 20 CV. It's all the same thing. So Who is your favorite designer out there right now?
I'm okay. I
So
go
you've got
through.
to go to a lot of knife shows, so I know you've seen a lot. Not just like
Yeah,
I won't tell anyone. I won't tell anyone at that you said anything about any other knife company.
it's true, but it's true. I've looked around quite a bit. I'm getting to know a lot more, but the ones that I really get to know are the ones that are doing designs for us. And my favorite designers are guys that continue to provide designs to that I just really, really like. And right now, that's Ray. That's Laconico.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll hook you up. I'll get you in touch with Ray. Ray's like, I don't know if you ever talked with Ray. Is one of the nicest dudes you ever want to talk to.
Yeah.
But great. Ray's great. I talk to Ray at least once a week.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I met him for the first time at Blade Show this year, and we've got a brand new design. Actually, it's sitting right here. We've got the Evoke that's coming out soon.
Stop doing things that make me spend money.
It came out. It's available right now. It launched today. The Evoke.
Okay. I need an affiliate link, and we'll put it in the thing. Oh, stop, Seth.
Look at that.
Man.
Whew.
I can't look at that. Full screen
It's good.
anymore.
It's got his awesome front flip. It's got drop shut action, nice thumb studs, super thin. It's a winner. So anyway, yeah, he's got my heart right now.
I'm not going to say Ray is my favorite designer, but I will say Ray has yet to have a production design hit the market that I didn't like. Like there hasn't been one. As much as I love Elliot Williamson, Elliot has 2 designs that I don't like. And he's like, well, I'm not making knives for you. And I'm like, apparently Ray Laconico is. Because every one of Ray's knives is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the slayback, which is tied for the Aloris right now, for in my head right now, for everything it does. I have to take everything into account, like how it cuts and performance, the way it feels in hand. But just overall, both those knives are probably at the top of that list of 5 that I put out the other day in a video. And yeah, that's a Ray Laconico design. That's a Laconico and an Elliot Williamson designs at the top 2.
Going head to head.
I'm like, that makes sense. That really does make sense. So, Rocky Cordova, Chef Rocky asked, do you remember my deadlock at Blade Show Atlanta? That's the super. That's
yes, I do.
Nice out the front.
I do remember that. Yeah, he came up and showed me that thing, and I was like, dang, like so that's good. Nice.
It is. And everybody's like, $1,200 for. I was like, yeah, I'd fucking pay that.
Worth it.
Worth it. Like that's the only knife I have to say. That is the only knife. The deadlock is the only knife that I have came out and said out loud is perfect. Because there is nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I could not find a flaw. And the only flaw I found was that the pocket clip wasn't reversible, but it's a mid-body, mid-scale OTF, so it's automatically ambidextrous. So obviously there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta ask you, my furnace just kicked on. Are you getting that pretty bad through the mic?
It's not bad for me, but I don't know what it sounds like on their end.
I can easily run and kick it off if that.
What's the consensus? How's it sound, guys?
Kick off the furnace or keep it on?
They're gonna be like, we want to see his hard nipples through his shirt. Turn it off.
They're like, we don't care.
I don't know. I haven't heard anybody say anything, so I don't think it's a big deal. Everybody, 1 Minute Knife Review said it's fine.
All right.
I can only hear it when we're not talking.
All right, not bad then. Not bad.
So yeah.
Okay, I'll do this. I'll shoot my wife a message and see if she gets it and she can shut it off.
You don't have to do that. It's not like there's a high production value. I'm currently filming with a laptop on top of 3 milk crates in my garage. I just have a green screen. That's all.
You don't have a studio? I have a studio.
I have a sneaking suspicion that might be a green screen as well. Oh wow! You actually have a studio? No, I do not have a studio. I have a garage that is a workshop for my sharpening service, studio for my YouTube channel, And they did it again. Yeah, now I can hear it. Now I can hear you. Now I can hear your furnace. It's not a big deal though.
All right. I think it'll go. I think it'll shut off here in a second.
Yeah, it shouldn't kick on very long. Show some knives. So I guess the guys are saying that they want you to show. What have you got laid out there?
I got another one that dropped today. That's pretty cool in the Civivi line. We've got the mini Praxis. This little guy is.
I like that.
Yeah, you guys probably know the original Praxis. It was one of the first 2 models, I believe, that was released under the Civivi brand.
Yeah.
This little guy right here that launched today has an MSRP of $35, so you can pick it up for like $30. It's one of the best values that you're going to find ever from Civivi. It's a D2 blade steel, and then it's got all of your standard features with the skeletonized liners, G10 handles, a deep carry pocket clip. It's flush. It's got milling in the handle, so that's flush, and then it's got the recessed screws and everything. So this little guy is an awesome EDC knife. It's going to give the Elementum a run for its money as far as your ultimate EDC knife.
That looks like a folding stonefish.
Folding stonefish.
It does. I mean, and it happens all the time. Elliot and I have designed knives, and we looked at him, and he was like, "You made a fix." Kinda.
It kinda does, huh?
It kinda does, and it's that everybody's like, "Oh, well, like this and that," and I'm like, you know what?
That's
kinda
funny.
Does. It kinda does.
Well, yeah, and we hear that a lot. I'm sure you do too. So every time a knife is shown, somebody says, "Well, it looks like this other knife."
Well, yeah, that's because you can only make there's only okay, guys. I've just realized that I had kicked myself out. There's only so many knife designs. So like when people is like, "Oh, that guy stole that design," I'm like, I want you to look at that real close. It's different enough. He did not steal that design.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. But I was just looking at that because I'm actually trying to make a folding stonefish. It's one of the things I would like to do. There's also thought about doing a folding sea snake, which is my little Warrenclyffe EDC fixed blade. I don't think I should do it because every time I've looked at it, and it's 100% because Elliot taught me how to make knives. Every time I've looked at taking that little Warrenclyffe fixed blade that I make, that I designed, into a folding knife, I wind up with this. That's what I see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is an Elliot Williamson Master Blaster that he did with Les George, and he was like, every time we do it and we look at it, I was like, Elliot, I can't make this knife, and he's like, why not? I was like, take the 2D render, and I want you to lay it next to your whatever. And he looks at it and he goes, huh. I was like, I can't do that. And he goes, why? And I was like, because it looks just like. He's like, so? He's like, we designed that at the same time. He's like, we just didn't notice. And I was like, oh. And he was like, maybe it's just because I taught you what you needed to know about how ergos on a knife work. And I was like, all right, fair enough.
Great design is great design.
Yeah, he's always been cool about it. I've designed a couple knives that, in retrospect, I look at it and I get one of his knives and I'm like, I basically made a fixed blade version of this knife.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is this? Chuck It is that's because Chuck It is. Where are you at right now? Are you in Wisconsin or some other godforsaken icy hellhole right now? He's a truck driver. One of my paying members. Big shout out to all my paying members that are here. I appreciate you guys showing up. So, who designed the beloved Praxis?
That's an in-house Wee knife design.
I would say that was one. So that one came out. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, the Praxis, the original Praxis looks like the Aloris," and I'm like, "It kind of does, but it's a good bit different." They're like, "Did Elliot Williamson design the Praxis?" And I'm like, "I can't say anything. Like, I can't say anything because basically I know enough about what goes on at Wee Knife Company or at Fair and Forged Knife Works that I'm in a non-disclosure. Like at one point, I knew as much about their financials as they did because I was there constantly. Like I'd be in the shop and their accountant would be there and I'd hear stuff. And so I was like, I'm in a non-disclosure. We'll just go ahead and do that.
Like, just give me something to sign. I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, right. I was like, I feel uncomfortable about knowing this much information. They're like, we trust you. You had a top secret. And I was like, actually, I had a TSSCI. I had above top secret. But yeah, we can go with that. We trust you. And I'm like, trust but verify. Make me sign something.
Trust and verify. Yeah.
So
There you go. There's the Praxis in the Mini.
I'm bringing it up. I like the Praxis. That's a good looking design.
It's a great knife.
Yeah. I think now that I look at it, that one might also be one that a mini would be something I want as opposed to the full size. I've gotten to a point. I don't know. Like that's what I'm saying. It's a big knife. The Praxis is fairly big because the Stonefish is not a little knife.
Yep.
But I've gotten to a point where I don't know if it's because I've entered that phase in my life where I'm not looking at sports cars. I'm looking at like hatchbacks and station wagons. But I also have went from, I don't necessarily want like the great big 8.5, 9-inch tactical folder because that's not what I'm using. You know what I'm using every day is a small little 3-inch, 2.5-inch folding knife. And I've gotten to a point where a lot of the smaller knives are ones that I gravitate to. But I will say that Civivi Riffle, holy crap, that is a good knife. That thing
Great
is
knife.
like a laser. That 14C on that takes a great edge, and it is, guys, if you've never handled a riffle, that thing almost doesn't exist behind the edge. It almost is zero ground. It is so thin, and it just slices forever.
It is nice. Speaking of small knives, did you see the Ostapel Clavi?
No.
This one.
It's a front flipper, so it's automatically it's developmentally challenged.
I mostly agree with that statement.
I like the blade on that though.
An
that
exception.
Is something that
little warny.
Yeah, it'd be good for letting the air out of things.
It's very, very pokey. This is an awesome little knife. It's like kind of like a, fits in your pocket like a pen, disappears, but it's got just enough handle on there because the handle is actually fairly wide when you compare it to, like the size of the blade. So you can actually get a really good grip on this little guy, and it's fun. I like it.
Oh, didn't mean to do that. What size gloves do you wear?
Large.
I was gonna say.
Like large, but medium to large. I don't have huge hands.
I have that gets into that. Like if it's at all, like there's a handful of knives that are they're like I said, they're too small.
You're like, where is it?
Well, the construction company I worked for before I got to my shoulder and everything got to the point where my doctor was like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. The construction company I worked for said that I'm the only person they've ever had to order XXL gloves for. They were like the ordering guy was like, what do you mean we have to order a box of XXL gloves? And they're like, well, it's too expensive to buy them one at a time because he's eating up all of the XXLs. They're like, what do you mean? He's like, he puts them on, he goes to work, and he blows the fingers out of them because they're too short. And they're like,
yeah, they're all fingerless.
Yeah, and people are like, I kind of want to see this. I kind of want to see this person. And they show up and they're like, Jesus. I was told that their equipment rental fees went through the roof after I left because they could no longer just go, yeah, we don't have a piece of equipment. Go dig that main. Here's a shovel. I'm like, all right, boss. All right, boss. I go dig. So no, I do like that. That's a good looking knife. I like a nice thin Warrenclyffe blade.
Yeah.
It's really functional for a lot of stuff, especially like I said, I'm a 48-year-old father of a 15-year-old girl. I'm cutting out patterns and shit so she can put them on her wall. She's like, Daddy, if I print this out, can you help me cut it out so we can? I was like, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what this little guy excels at any kind of stuff like that. This one's.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Get your finger up there on that sharp pointy blade. It's a good one. Great.
Well, the only reason I do it for her is because, well, none of my knives are cheap enough for me to let her do it herself. So I may get one of those, just give it to her. Like, here you go. Cut out all the shit you want. I'll just resharpen it. Just try not to break the tip off the blade.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're not going to want to, there's not much there. Not much behind that edge.
I'm back. My internet kicks me off every once in a while. My apologies.
I'll have to pay attention. I'll just keep everybody busy while you're gone.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know if you were. I was like, I got to get back in quick. I've got to get back in quick. I got a little warning up in the corner. It said my internet was suspect,
Oh.
and I don't understand why. I've got really good internet. I'm not having any problems, but every once in a while I'll just get this little warning. It says, "Oh, your internet's degraded," and then all of a sudden, boop, I kick out. It happens a lot when I'm sharing another screen, or if we're like looking at knives on Knife Center and stuff like that. So what's the steal on that little guy?
Oh, I forgot what it is. It's they hide the steel on these things in different places.
It's like an
so
Easter egg hunt trying to find the knife.
tiny. Yeah, and it's the laser engraving.
Is it on the flipper? It's on a flipper tab. Because that's where they put it sometimes, and you're like, I can't find. Oh, it's on a flipper tab.
I can see it. It's just I don't have the light for it. Hang on. I think it's 14. Oh, it's Nitro V. Nitro V.
It'd be better. Chuck It's like Nitro V, I think. And I'm like, thanks, Chuck It.
Yeah, we should just ask them. We should ask them. First one to tell us the right answer. Yep.
Oh, before we go any further, I like not to sidetrack this. We're almost an hour in. I'm definitely going to be adding that to a bottle of water here shortly. I wanted to show you guys something because, like I said, keep in mind I'm giving away like $1,000 worth of stuff when we hit 10,000 subs, and so currently I am sitting at. As soon as this opens up, I can tell you, had a big influx of views and viewers. I'm trying to pull it up to where you guys can't see my actual statistics and stuff. Here we go. Chrome tab. We are currently sitting at 9705. So we should hit 10,000 subs before too long. So keep in mind,
nice.
Like I said, I'm going to have to do a giveaway in like, it's going to be prize packs. I've got, at this point, well over $1,000. I think I have over $1,000 in just top end stuff. And then I'm just adding stuff onto it. And I'm going to do it in prize packs. So, yeah, I have to do that every once in a while to remind people. So if you're watching and you're not subscribed, you can't get in on the giveaway if you're not a subscriber. If you can't prove you're a subscriber, you don't win anything. It's just how it works.
Subscribe publicly, guys.
Yeah. That's because if I can't validate that you're a subscriber. So I have to ask, how does it work? Do you do any? I mean, how's it working for We Knife Company here in the States with them being in offshore?
Communication these days is so simple and so easy. I mean, we're constantly in touch with email and instant messaging. So we run a group chat that also shares documents and things like that. So we're constantly in touch there. And then I have a weekly web call with them. Just talk with Angel and the marketing team, and we go over everything that's going on and talk about upcoming events, shows, sales, and things like that. And it's pretty seamless.
Nice. I just was curious because I know how it works for some companies, and it doesn't seem to be as smooth as it is with others. Like I know the guys at Crane's Cutlery are running shows pretty much for RIAT right now because of the restrictions in travel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you guys have your team here. Like I saw you guys at Blade Show West. I didn't get a lot of time. I didn't get a lot of chance to swing by. I was going to film with you guys, and like I forget what happened. Like some of your product didn't show up, and when I came back the second day of Blade West, I was going to film with you guys, and I was like, well, there's nothing there. They sold everything the first day.
Yeah, those shows are fun, and I typically just organize those with the people that are like Jim, for example, Kyle Burgess, who used to work at Blade HQ, Cougar Kyle. Comes and he works with us part-time, and so he comes to the shows.
I saw you had Tomas. Tomas was there at one of the shows from Tactical Tavern. I follow his YouTube channel. If you guys don't, go follow him. It's a good channel. I like Tomas. He's really good. He was with Bastinelli. He was with Bastinelli Cutlery at California Custom Show. It was the first I got a chance to meet him. He's great. He's a great dude. I like him a lot. So But no, I just like I've seen other companies, and it seems like either they don't get people that know how to talk about the product, or there are, and I'm not going to mention any company names, but there's some companies that are super strict with what the people that are working the show are allowed to say, and they can't go off script. And it just makes it, especially like for a content creator, it makes it hard to film with companies like that. If you don't know about the product, or if you're not allowed to talk about anything off like script, it just makes it really hard. So it's always nice to film with certain tables like Artisan, We Knife, Reat, Crane's Cutler, whoever's doing the show. It's always great because they give you guys a little bit of latitude, and it makes it feel more personal.
They do. That's one of the things that I love about the company. You know, they place a lot of trust in me and in the team that we put together over here, which is really, really great. And there's some awesome support that we get for the shows. Like you said, Tomas, Kyle, Jim, some of these guys that have been in the industry for a long time, and they know their stuff, and they know our product very, very well, which is extremely difficult because we come out with so much product. And, you know, like I couldn't remember the steel on this because it came out, well, it came out today, right? But I saw it a couple of months ago, and then there's been 25 new models since then. And, you know, there's just constantly so much stuff coming through that it's hard to know it all. And our guys do a really good job of learning it and knowing it. Here's
a good question. So what's the thought behind putting 9CR on the Gold Flake Shred Carbon Fiber Praxis? I don't have a problem with 9CR. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have a problem with 9CR. I'm not that guy that's going to chase the super steels.
Well, the Praxis
steel is good. It's good.
The 9CR is great. It's a fantastic steel, and we use it on a good chunk of knives. And the Praxis is a $47 knife, something like that, $45. It's great for that price point. But why that particular version? There is I think there's a Damascus version as well.
I've seen it.
Which is essentially 9CR as well.
Yeah, a lot of the ones that have the shred, gold shred carbon fiber have got the Damascus. But that again, like you said, that most of your stainless steel Damascus, if it's not Damasteel, is going to be a 9CR variant of some sort.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah, 9CR and 10CR. But yeah, it's just kind of a balance. You know, it's a balance of keeping models in different price ranges. You know, you change the steel, and that knife with that particular set of scales all of a sudden becomes, you know, $40 more expensive, and then everybody complains because it's expensive. And so it's just a balance, you know, and we release so many models too. That's one of the things that's nice about coming out with so many different variations and different models, because there's always going to be something for somebody. You know, if this particular version isn't for you, just wait a couple months, you know, we'll find something that is.
It's like the weather, unless you're in Southern California, which never changes. Darren Toffin, I'm only putting you in timeout because I can't delete that comment, because you like, I know you probably didn't do it on purpose, but that's kind of a racial term. But that knife, that deeply curved knife, the Karambit, was the Wee Incisor, and I absolutely agree that needs to be brought back. That is the only Karambit I have ever liked. Mine is over there, right there. I can see it.
You got
here.
one? Mm-hmm.
I have a Wee. I was at the Tactical Knife Invitational in Vegas, and I ran into a guy that was working with Wee for Mass Drop. Jonas was working with Wee through Mass Drop at the time. He was one of Elliot's friends. He basically ran, it's Drop now, but he ran the EDC and gear side of the house for Mass Drop. And Elliot, that's how Elliot really got in with Wee Knife Company. That's where the knives really started coming from, like the Gent and things like that. And so he gave me one. He goes, "Hey, do you like Karambits?" And I was like, "Not really." And he goes, "Can you sell a Karambit?" And I was like, "How much do you want for it?" He's like, "No, I'm fucking giving it to you." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm an idiot." And he was like, "No, here." He's like, "I won't ever carry it." And he gave it to me, and I immediately fell in love with it. So,
I had a handful of those 2 years ago, and I think Blue Ridge Knives or something ended up buying them up from us, and I had to send them out, and I haven't had any since. But I agree. I'd love to see that one come back, and I'd love to see it come back in the Civivi line as well.
I would. It's one of those knives, like if I refinish a knife, it means I like it. Like if I've done something to make that knife mine, that means I like it. Which, case in point, this is a prototype. Elliot gave me one of the prototypes, but it wasn't a black handle. And then I did a orange peel pocket clip and with two-tone black, and I did the ceramic and everything on this.
Yeah,
because I was
that's
like, I
nice.
really like this knife, so
Nice.
it's mine now. Yeah, I was getting ready to answer it. So, okay, so I have to be really careful. Just so you know, I have to keep an eye on the chat, which definitely distracts from being able to do some of this. But how do the big channels with all the foul stuff being said in the chat get away with it and you don't? Because I'm not a sponsored channel. I don't have another company fitting the bill. Like, I don't get a sponsorship check. I don't have sponsored content. So I have to rely on the ad revenue. And anything that gets said in the chat, I'm responsible for, even if it's a live chat. So to keep the censors from shutting down my channel, I'm really protective of what can and can't be said in the chat. I don't want anything racial. I don't want anything political. I don't want anything self-harm or any of that stuff. So I try to run this channel as cleanly as possible. And if you can't follow those rules, then you just can't be on the channel. But I didn't block Darren, or I can't remember what his name was now. I didn't block him. I just put him in timeout because that's the only way that I can delete that comment. So there you go. There's your answer. No Brandon comments. Well, you can get away with one every once in a while. Because I think it's funny. But don't be going in there and just throwing a bunch of them in. So that's right. That's not right that you're responsible for the chat. Yeah, I'm responsible for the chat. I'm responsible for comments too. That's where it sucks. Like, people don't realize it. Like, I don't know if I told you this, Seth. Like, I literally spend about 16 hours a day between filming, editing, and then scrubbing the comments section.
Yeah.
Because they'll actually like, oh, well, you let this comment happen, and I'm like, I have like 2,000 videos at this point. I'm supposed to read all the comments, and they're like, yeah, hire someone. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't make enough any given month to really pay the bills, and I'm supposed to hire someone. So Braden, I don't know who it was. I don't know who it was. So at any rate, if anyone can acquire the Wii Karambit, let me know. Been looking for a while. They are hard to come by. There's not a, they don't, they only made them for what, a year?
Probably. I don't even know. It was made, it was produced, and it was discontinued before I even got with the company.
Yeah. They were good. They were really good. I like them a lot. And like I said, I don't typically like Karambits, and that's the first one that really, well, first of all, it's the one that had a big enough ring that I could get my finger through and actually use it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how they're supposed to work and feel. But then just the overall construction on it was amazing.
Yeah. I can tell you that I have seen emails recently regarding that model.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know. I can't say, and I don't know exactly what will come of it, but it has been discussed as recently as 2 weeks ago.
Nice. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that hitting. I could see that hitting a good piece of the market. There's a lot of guys that like a good Karambit, and there just aren't many of them out there. And that was, like I said, the only other one you have. And everybody's gonna laugh when I hear me say it. I don't like Emerson knives, and the only other Karambit on the market is that Super Karambit by Emerson. And I personally think that, as if you find the video, in my opinion, Emerson knives are crap. So, Burnt Toast, you take it easy. I will see you next time. Just keep in mind, Burnt Toast, if you want to get back in on some of those giveaways, you can always get back into the paid memberships. I say that, but I have a knife that I did as a giveaway that I was supposed to send off like a month ago, and I just keep it's in a box, and I just keep walking past it.
In a box with somebody's address on it.
It's already boxed up. I just, every time I'm like, oh, I should take that to the post office, and I'll go out and I'll get in a car and take my kid to a doctor's appointment. I'm like, I totally forgot that knife again. So, what's going on with some of the older designs? Are they going to bring back some of the older designs like this V601 for like a limited run? Like, I can see that being something that people would hop on.
It's always possible. I haven't had any conversations or heard any conversations about anything like that recently, but it's always possible. Joe and the team likes to listen to the marketplace and to try to provide what they want. So, you know, when there's a hit and people want it back, you know, if it gets to the point where it feels like there's enough demand for it, you know, maybe we'll do it. But I can't say.
How could you not want that to come back?
Man, I had a handful of those as well. And at that same time that I had those incisors, there was a bunch of those that I had. They came through. It was like they somehow got found on the back shelf somewhere and got sent out to me. And then I sent them on to Blue Ridge Knives, and they're gone now.
Probably why you have Stonefish. You're like, shit, we just can't fucking sell these.
I'll tell you what, I have these. I have two of them, I think, too.
Just give them away to people. Like, that's about all they're worth at this point.
Well, I have them because when I came here, it was like my favorite knife, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I wanted it because I wanted to start getting this into people's hands, and I wanted to get it out there. It's an awesome fixed blade, and so I would request them, and I would get them in from the factory as samples, and then they're like, oh, that's discontinued, and I'm like, oh,
yeah. Well, I have to say, and I don't know if I've said it in a live feed. So I reached out to them when the design was done, and they gave me my first royalty check, and I reached out and I asked Doris, because she was my point of contact, and I was like, so is this how we're gonna do it? Is it gonna be like, what is it, every 90 days? Is it every quarter? You know, what am I looking? Just because I was like, I have to make planning, because at that time my daughter was getting ready to go overseas for a skating competition. I was like, I just want to know, and she's absolutely not trying to push them on it. I just needed a time frame for scheduling.
Yeah,
and she's like, well, I'll talk to them and find out what happens. And the next thing she told me is, she's like, well, we're just going to pay you out for the entire run. And I was like, no, that's not what I meant. She goes, well, we already sent it. And I was like, shit. So before they even sold the knives, they paid me for every knife they made. And I was like, well, that's really
awesome. That
was really awesome, because it let me send my daughter to the Netherlands to
Mm-hmm.
go skate. So
that's really cool. I like hearing stories like that, and you're not the only one that I've heard that from. And it's kind of goes to show the kind of people that they are. Honestly, like they care about people. They want to make sure that everybody's taken care of, that everybody's happy. You know, nobody's ever clamoring to We Knife about getting paid. Like, they pay their bills every time, all the time, on time. They're great.
Yeah, they were great. And like I said, I felt guilty, and I kept telling her, I was like, no, that's not what I want. She's like, well, I already sent it. And I was like, I was like, Doris, that's not at all what I meant. And I saw them after I saw them at Blade Show West in Portland, and Doris was there, because this was before COVID and everything. And I told her, I was like, I want you guys to, I was like, please, I want you on. And Joe was with them. Joe was with them. I think David's son was hanging out and was helping them. Doris was there. Angel was there. Chris and Elliot were working the table in the booth. And I was like, that's absolutely not what I meant. I feel so guilty. And they were like, no, it's fine. We do it all the time. What company is this guest? Luke says, what company is this guest from? Luke's another one of my subscribers. Luke could also need a state assigned guardian. I mean, couldn't we all? Lacey says, you knife. So let's get back. I have other questions. What is the most overrated knife at We Knife Company, and what is the most underrated?
You say, okay, so you say, which is the most overrated and which is the most underrated?
Yes.
Okay.
Those two, like, what are the two knives that you think are kind of overrated? You're like, I don't get this. And then what you're like, how come people didn't buy this?
Okay. Underrated is fairly easy for me, I think. I would say the pintail.
Oh, that's a good one.
I
forgot about that one.
It's you and a lot of other people. It's a fantastic knife. It still remains one of our evergreen models, you know, like that we keep reproducing. But I don't think it gets near the love it deserves. It's an S35VN Civivi. thumb stud flipper, great EDC size, you know, around the size of that Elementum, but the blade's a little bit taller. I'm sure I could find one here on the table somewhere, but fantastic little knife. What's the most overrated? That one's tougher for me. Ooh, I could probably get really controversial here.
Okay, I like controversial.
I don't even know if I dare say it.
Why not? They're not going to fire you. No, here's okay. Let me assuage you of your concerns. No one watches this fucking channel.
Okay, this is a personal style, I guess, choice. The Eschaton.
Oh, see, I have that here. Okay, so I'm not gonna disagree with you. I just happen to say that I have one here. So Elijah was a super good friend of mine, and I love the weirdness of his designs. I could appreciate the weirdness of his designs, but you're not wrong. There's not much you can do with this.
But people love.
I told him that his whole point was, he was like, it wasn't meant to be something you could use. It was just to show what he's like. I just wanted to see if they could do the design. And Darren, I wasn't at all upset. I don't want any. This is my only source of income. My YouTube channel is my only source of income right now. So I have to be very cautious. So I wasn't upset. The only way I could get it taken down. So, yeah, the Wii Eschaton was definitely, it was a weird one. And I told him, I was like, I love the fact that you made this. And he goes, why? Everybody else hates it. I'm like, no, because he's like, he looked at me and was like, the sharpening. And I was like, yep. And he goes, I'll start giving people your info.
No, the reason that's controversial is because it's even for me personally, because I love that we made the knife. I love that he designed that. And I love the weirdness of it. And, you know, we've got some of the Damascus Damasteel versions that are just incredible. But it's got this, you know, you can't use it hardly, you know?
Yeah, you can't. I'm sorry, I was dropping a comment.
No worries.
So yeah, you can't use it for much anything. It is attractive though. I said it. I told Elijah. I was talking with Elijah on the phone, and I was like, bro, the Eschaton. He goes, yeah. And I was like, how come this isn't in a fucking Bond movie? Why isn't this something a Bond villain isn't going, put it in his eye?
You know what? I tried to send. I had some connections to a Hollywood prop house.
Oh yeah.
We used to send guns out to him, and I reached out to him, and I was trying to send him some of the Isham stuff because it belongs for sure.
Right? It belongs in the movie Dune. It belongs. This should have been in the movie Dune. This should have been something. This should have been something that one of her Conans was carrying.
Absolutely.
So
try to think of something else that's a little less like off the wall, you know, like the Eschaton, that would be overrated, that everybody just loves, and I can't see it. Because I can see why people love the Eschaton. Like, so.
I just look at it because it's like a piece of art.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me? Because I just lost any audio.
I hear you. Lost you now.
I can't hear you. No. Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you. There we go. I was like, I'm like not getting a response. I'm not getting a response in the comments, and I could just see you talking, and all of a sudden it came back. There we go.
No, you got dropped for just a second, but for the most part, you were there.
Yeah. No, I have a couple things. I have a couple things that I wanted to ask you as the marketing director at We Knife Company.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any way to forward on some ideas from knife reviewers? Because I have a couple, and one of my big ones is when companies do reversible pocket clips, not covering the holes.
Okay.
Because knowing from my standpoint of spending all my entire adult life in the military, and then I worked for the government in counter surveillance and things like that, I'm not gonna be in a, and then I work construction, like infrastructure construction, where we were putting in like we were running the main and all the stuff that goes on the slab before the building goes up. You know, everything that's in the ground. I am never going to be able to just take that pocket clip and flip it if I want to put it in my left pocket.
Right.
I'm going to have to take 20 minutes and clean that fucking hole. And then it reaches the point like, fuck it, I'm just not going to do it. Even if it's something as simple as just put a couple extra screws on the opposite side. That would be a great step in the direction of preventing people from getting really upset when they have to spend 20 minutes to clean out those holes.
Well, so you make a great point though, and something that I hadn't considered honestly, because in my mind, the only reason to switch a pocket clip is if you're left-handed or if you are always going to carry that in your other pocket.
Yeah.
Right. You know, regardless of which hand you are, you buy the knife, you put the clip on the side that you're going to use it on, and it lives there. That would be something that would be new and different, and I think a great idea to make a pocket clip that is, you know, toolless, reversible without tools or something like that, that you could just pop it off, flip it on the other side, and go. It's a great idea. Love it. I don't know if it's out there right now or not. It probably is because everything's been done, but I don't know. I like that idea.
Yeah, so I see companies that do it, and I don't have anything here. Oh, I have something cool though. I have an Elliott Williamson prototype.
Ooh.
I have a production prototype #1. I keep forgetting to give this back to him. I'm like, Elliot, I still have one of your prototypes. And he goes, oh, thank God, that's where that went. I'm like, yeah, it didn't go anywhere. His car got broke into here a couple years ago. And every once in a while, he'll be like, he'll just realize that whatever knife that he's been looking for, he's like, yeah, I bet that was in the car when it got stolen. And I showed him this, and he's like, oh, thank God. I sent him a picture. I was like, yeah, I still have it. He goes, oh, thank God. I thought it was stolen in the car. So
little does he know it was in the car and you were the guy.
He got it. So he's an idiot. He left his. I love Elliot. He's the dumbest genius I know. Like, he's a certified genius, but he does shit. Like, he parked his car in his neighborhood at his apartment where he was living at the time with his hockey bag in the back, and left the truck unlocked. And somebody stole his entire hockey bag, and everything that was in it. And there was an entire case full of knives.
Ouch.
Oops, sorry.
Ouch.
So, what other companies? Now, I know, like, I have to be careful when I do stuff because I say I don't have sponsors, but I have a sponsor. I have a sponsor that doesn't sponsor every one of my videos, but I have to be careful what I do. Dahlstrom Knives. Dahlstrom Kitchen Knives is a sponsor.
Okay.
So I know that you're working for the company, but what other companies on the, having been at shows and stuff, what other companies do you think are really ones that are up and coming that you think are going to be, because competition is healthy. So what ones are you looking at that you're like, yeah, we're going to have to start competing against them soon? You know, some of the newer companies. Like I know, like what is it? Jesus, I can't think. It's David's son works for him now. It's Beyond EDC is really starting to get some designers like Dirk Pinkerton and stuff like that. So what are the ones that you're noticing that you think are going to be the next ones that start coming up?
If I'm being honest with you, which I am and I will be, I'm truthfully not paying a lot of attention to those guys, and that could be dangerous. But because I know that there's always room, you know, for disruptors and for new companies, just like We Knife came onto the scene and disrupted things. But I've kind of got my eye on the competition that I'm trying to catch, that are ahead of us, that we're going after. And so those are the way
to do it, because then you don't have to worry about the guys behind you, because you're already moving forward.
They're always in our wake.
Yeah.
So no, I don't know that I could say if there's somebody right now that I'm really worried about. There's, you know, everybody kind of seems to carve their own little niche and pick up a fair amount of business, you know, hopefully enough business that they can feed their families and be content and satisfied and that kind of a thing. But I'm not really spending a lot of time looking at brands that I feel like we already kind of are are ahead of them. I'm looking at the brands that I'm trying to catch up to and that I'm trying to beat.
Okay, so what would those brands be?
Uh,
You're not getting out of it that easy. He's like, I plead the fifth.
I'm looking at US made brands. I feel like and not necessarily as a more of a size and a market penetration aspect, because I'm feel very strongly that we already make product that's as good and better than a lot of these companies, but these companies are doing.
He said size and penetration.
You got me. You got me.
I haven't even gotten into this shit yet. I heard it and I'm like, ooh, Navy brain kicked on. I was like, oh, military guy. Yeah, there's a joke there.
We're not gonna let that one go.
I couldn't. I was trying so hard because I have to be careful, because I'll use that voice filter and I'll start laughing and I can hear it as the monster voice. And then I start laughing harder. And I'm like, I just lose my shit.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Did not mean to distract you.
It's all right. It was worth it. It was justified.
Ooh, that was anyway. So you said size of the company and market penetration. Let's throw some extra words in there.
Yeah. see what else we can do.
Exemplifiers in there, so we separate it a little bit.
These big U.S. brands that have incredible marketing, incredible designs, incredible product, and a long history of making and selling great product here. It's kind of, we have to take market share from those guys in order for us to continue to grow. So that while I love and respect them, we're after some of their market.
Yeah. Have you thought about collaborating with some of these companies? Because I'll tell you one of the things that like this is the thing that irritates me in the knife world right now, is that knives seem to be the only thing that everyone's, oh, don't buy that, it was made in China, but they're on an Apple iPhone that was made by Foxconn in China. They're using an Apple Watch that was made by Foxconn in China, on a MacBook Pro that was made by Foxconn in China, in a car that was made in Korea by Hyundai. And I'm like, where is that? Where these comments you're making on what American-made cell phone did you do them from? And that's what irritates me. But I would
for some reason they've drawn a hard line in the sand when it comes to knives.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, that does irritate me. I don't give a crap. Like, a quality made product is a quality made product, regardless where it comes from. But there have been some companies that historically were doing offshore that are bringing stuff to the United States, having American made options. Mm-hmm. Have you guys thought about that? That's just a question. It's a question that popped into my head, and I figured since I had you here, I'd ask you.
I wouldn't say that we have any plans right now, to move manufacturing into the US or anything like that at this point. Collaborations are always on the table, which is one thing that I find really kind of interesting in the knife world. And the idea of collaborating with other brands has been brought up before, which I just was kind of having a hard time wrapping my head around how you could collaborate with another knife brand. And I know it's being done a little bit in Italy, and with some different brands, MKM's market or model and that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. But it's like it's like Toyota collaborating with Honda on a car,
which would absolutely make Honda a better car, because I'll push a Toyota before I'll drive a Honda. Sorry.
but it's interesting, but none of it's off the table. None of it's off the table for sure.
Yeah. I'm just curious, because that's like the thing. Like, I think that would be cool, because there's so many designs out there that could be like, I would like to see something like, oh, we have this knife, let's see who makes it better. Like almost make it like a competition. Like we're going to take one of your designs and we make it, and we'll make a limited run, and you take one of our designs and make a limited run. There's no competition. We don't have to worry about like trademarks and all that shit. We're not going to sue each other, and let's just see how it pans out, and we'll put it in the customer's hands and make it almost like a competition. It would be cool. It'd be almost like almost like the Thunderdome. Like one man enters, two men enter, one man leaves. Like your knife sucks.
No, no competition, but only one of you's leaving.
Yeah, right. These are the things like because I don't sleep, so these are the things that bounce around in my head at night. And I'm like, oh, that would be cool. Have a competition like Forged in Fire, but have it be like two big knife companies making each other's designs and then comparing them and give them to the judges to.
That'd be awesome. Love it.
Right? Wouldn't that be cool?
It would be cool.
There you go. Chalk that one up. He's like, I'm not sending that to the fucking team.
I'm sending it right now.
Yeah, Mike's fucking stupid.
No,
I've been missing the chat.
There's collaborations I think are a great idea, a great concept, and I know that they're happening in the industry, and it certainly is a way to expand, brand awareness on different levels. So yeah, definitely not off the table. Something we've talked about a little bit with different scenarios. So yeah.
Things are going to get weird here. There was 5 milligrams of THC extract in that bottle of water that I just drank. So things will get weird. So what's this? He said he had a 76 Honda Civic picked up for $250, almost got 50. I'm not gonna lie. I had a Honda Civic as my first. No, it wasn't. It was my second car. And it wouldn't have died. The body fell off of it before the engine died.
It's awesome.
So, let's see. What was I going to ask you? What's your favorite non-knife YouTube channel?
Non-knife YouTube channel?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I probably spend most of my time watching like Steven Ranella, Meat Eater, hunting stuff. That's not knife specific. Yeah.
I don't. I have a very eclectic playlist of things that I watch. Have you ever watched the Marble Olympics?
No.
You should watch that. Like you absolutely should watch that after like 3 or 4 beers.
Wow, the Marble Olympics.
Yeah, he does. He also have Marbula 1, which is like F1 racing. It's done in teams. The teams are broken down by different types of marbles. Rangers. That's my favorite team. Like you'll get invested in it. You'll be watching like the Marble Olympics. He does like the Olympic events with marbles, and you're like you get invested in it. You're like at one point you're like and we were watching at the shop with Elliot one night at like 11:30 at night on a Friday. He goes, wait, we're all at. He's like, why am I so enthralled by this? And I'm like, it's amazing. And he goes, he's like, you are going to burn up so much of my valuable time with this. He's
That's
like, I'm
hilarious.
gonna watch this forever. Here's something because you're from an EDC background, not necessarily just knives. Pocket pry bars. What's your thoughts on pocket pry bars? Do you? I totally turned into a Canadian there for a second. Pocket pry bars.
I always have one on me. You know, whatever knife I'm carrying.
So we're going to put Seth in timeout right now because we all know for a fact that you do not pry with a pocket knife. There's just some things you don't do. Mint chocolate chip ice cream, you don't pry with a knife.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, like if you're selling knives, you like tell people that, like, pry with it, it'll be great. It snapped. Well, I'll sell you a new one.
Yeah, sorry, that's not covered under warranty. You pried with it.
But you told me it was like, I don't believe what you're saying. Like, you have no proof.
No, I'm very careful with my knives, but I do not carry a pry bar personally. I don't like the extra. I don't like having extra stuff in my pockets, man. I don't.
I didn't either. And then I got a couple of them in, and I got one that my friend Christian Ortiz over at Cerberus Knives makes. It's a 3V pry bar with a pocket clip, and it's nice and thin. It's not like one of those crazy over the top things. It's just a really good pry bar.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, well, what do you use it for? I was like, you'd be fucking surprised how
Yeah.
much stuff I use that for. Drop my lights, and I gotta fix the wire inside, and I can't get a spudger. I'll just use that pry bar and pop the seams on these lights, because I'm hard on equipment. I'm 6 foot. I'm in a garage, and I'm only using like a quarter of the garage for the studio, and I've got lights and cords and shit running. Stuff gets knocked over, and then I have to fix shit because I'm cheap. So yeah, it comes in handy for a lot of things.
It's all the stuff that you use your knife for that you shouldn't be, and or all those times when you can't get something done because you don't want to use your knife for it. So yeah, I'm certain I'd use it a lot, but
yeah, it's definitely something that I didn't think that I would be drawn to, but now that I've got a couple of nice ones, I really like it. Now I've said this before, I'll never understand the EDC pen, like the expensive pen. Like I know guys that got $500-$600 ink pens, and I'm like, that's like, I just can't wrap. That's like spending like Nick Shabazz has got knives or watches that cost several $1,000s. I'm like, why? Like, there's just some parts of the EDC hobby that I've just never gotten into.
Yeah,
the pens and watches is one of them.
Like, the pens, you do everything on your phone. So like, I mean, if you've got a pen, then I don't know, you got to have like a notepad too or something, right? Or
which I usually do, but I've got like a $3 disposable pen, because I'll leave that shit at the counter at the bank when I sign something, and I'm like, I'd walk away, and I'm like, oh shit, that's a $600 pen I just gave to somebody.
Yeah, that'd be a bad day. Multi-tools though, like Leatherman's, you know. I carried a Leatherman for a while, and I mean, those things they've got everything you need, right? I
have, for a long time, if people disagree with me, I've said that the Swiss Army knife is the original multi-tool, and I've owned, if you were to look at like knives, I say it all the time, like, oh, if you looked at how many knives I've owned, like my top knives, just based on knives that I've owned and lost or given away and sold, like different models that I've owned from specific companies, Cold Steel, Spyderco, and Ferrum Forge. But if you really were to look at it, I've got 6 Swiss Army knives at this house in different configurations. My daughter has 3 that I've bought for her at different times, and I've probably lost 4 or 5. So I'm like, I've had more Swiss Army knives than any other knife I've ever owned. And I had the Swiss card, which had the scissors and the knife, and the I had one of those as well that I kept in my wallet. I was like, yeah, I've had a lot of Victorinox products. Yeah,
they're fantastic, and I mean, no question, as far as utility, usefulness, and I mean, I remember in carrying those previously as well. You know, you're always like, well, let me find, there's a tool in here that's the right tool for this job, you know, and you're digging through and you finding the right little piece.
I've been issued, because I joined the military. I was 17, and I got medically retired at just about the 18-year mark, and then I worked for the government for 6 years. I have so many multi-tools that are done in different configurations and stuff like that, and I still go to the base commissary because I'm retired, and I will see, or the base PX, and I will see new Leathermans that they have, and they have one now that has all of the tools, because I was a weapons guy, and it has all of the tools I would want. Like, it's got scrapers, it's got a front sight tool for an AR, it's got all the tools that and I'm looking at it, and I was like, I really want that. And I'm looking at it, my wife's like, that's $160. I'm like, I know. And she goes, what are you gonna do with it? I'm like, nothing. I just want it. I want it, and I want to look at it and be like, why the fuck didn't we have this when I was active duty?
Yeah,
it's been great. I don't know. There's something going on in the chat. They're talking about another YouTuber. They're talking badly about another YouTuber.
Oh, come on, guys.
No, it's well deserved. I'm not going to intercede. I 100% agree.
Continue.
I'm just not going to read the comments out loud, because I can get away with that. Okay. Now, I have another question, and then we'll get into like goofy stuff. You can tell some stories and stuff. And I ask this to everybody that's on the channel. I typically ask it of knife makers, but because you work for a knife company, you see a lot of knives. I call it my Franken knife question. You don't have to worry about how you make the parts fit, but you can take any blade, any handle, any pocket clip, any blade grind, and any finish from any knife and put those items together and make a Franken knife. What would your Franken knife be?
Oh gosh. Okay.
I love this question.
I've got like in my head there's like pieces and parts and blades floating around, and I'm trying to like make some kind of a sense of how to put it together. Man. First thing that it has to be one knife and it has to fit together. It has to work.
But you don't have to worry about that. We're just gonna we're just gonna hit the as I used to teach my children that worked for me when I would teach them solid state electronics. You just have to push the I believe button.
Yeah.
Don't ever try to figure out, like, just understand this is how it works. Don't understand the why it works. Like, you don't have to figure out the whole shoehorning those parts together. But like, what would be your perfect blade shape, perfect, like, from any knife, perfect handle from any knife, any material, and then lock mechanism and stuff like that. It's just like, what would be in your mind the perfect knife?
This is tough, and I feel like it's extra tough as because I'm not nearly as experienced as you and your followers in the industry.
I just like asking this question because I always
man.
Jim Skelton. The first time I asked Jim Skelton this question, he was like, "Are you the fucking devil?"
Yeah, that's tough, man. It's a great question. It's tough. So I'll tell you what I like, and I can't tell you a specific model or version that comes from. As far as pocket clips go, I like a good milled pocket clip that is not that's nice and wide. That's also bent, that comes in and out of your pocket super easy. Okay, something like. Oh, in fact, it was the reason I mentioned this is because Kyle Burgess from that works with us was mentioning it on a Gavco design that we're releasing. It's coming out really soon. It's got one of those. It's nice and wide, sits in the pocket very, very well. So a nice wide titanium milled but also curved pocket clip. That's got to be the pocket clip. The handle is going to be plain. It's not going to have finger grooves or anything like that in it. It's just going to be a nice plain straight handle.
Hang on a second. Are you talking? I'm trying to in my head place the pocket clip. Are you talking kind of like a Terzuola pocket clip?
Yeah, a little bit wider though. A little bit wider.
Yeah. That's the when you were talking about milled but also bent.
Yes, there you go. Thinking. There you go. You can help me build this knife.
I got like 30 knives sitting next to me.
For a blade, it's always going to be just a drop point blade. I'd like a blade that's going to have a little bit more belly than that, not quite as pointy. So we're going to go more Ferrum Forge style. Probably
that is the Ferrum Forge. That's the Ferrum Forge Aloris.
Oh, there it is.
Are you talking Ferrum Forge?
Yeah,
Archbishop style.
Yeah, a little more belly to it, just like that. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. Okay.
And locking mechanism is going to be bolster lock for me. I'm going bolster. And reason is I hate sticking. Dude, that's nice. Yeah.
Bolster lock. Okay.
I'm carrying a bolster lock right now, and this one is close. Actually, this checks off a lot of boxes for me.
Which one is that?
This is the press check from Alan Eliashewitz.
See, I had some real issues with that knife. If you go find I love the knife. It's really attractive.
It's too small for you.
I love it. It's not just that. It has some engineering things that I just like. Let me. I'm talking to a. If you get up on the lock, you can feel how sharp it is, and it's got this little thing like almost like chiseled out. It was a hot spot.
Yeah. Right. Are you talking right here?
Yeah, right on a lock bar. Yeah, that was. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous knife. It's very like ocean predator looking, and I love it. I just can't. It's just not one I could carry. I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed with that one. But that's an Elishewitz thing. There's a lot of his designs that just I don't gravitate to because a lot of times my issue with knives is not that they're not attractive and things. I don't look at a knife because I grew up in the country. I grew up on a farm, like 360 acre farm. A knife was a tool. Yeah. And a tool that's uncomfortable, you're gonna shy away from using. And so there's a lot of times knives get bad reviews, and it's just because of comfort level and things like that. People are like, but it's a gorgeous knife, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if it looks like it was made out of cow flop. If it fits my hand comfortably and it does the job as required, then that's gonna be something that I gravitate to. Now, if you can make a pretty knife that's also really comfortable, yeah. But that was my issue with that one. But it's a good knife overall.
I really, really like it. And I think that because I carried this one for quite a while and have been, it's really given me a respect for the bolster lock style. I really like that.
I like bolster locks because you don't lose a lot of the comfort. You don't have like this whole bar doesn't. I went and got my.
Hey.
There it is. That whole bar doesn't kick over. That's why I like some of the new liner locks that are done really well. That's why I like them because you don't lose any ergos like this. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about pocket clip. I honestly think that this is one of the best pocket clips right now.
That's a fantastic clip.
So comfortable. The Monterey Bay Knives pocket clips are great. Yeah, no, I can see that. That's what about? So you said locking mechanism, bolster lock. What about material, handle material, and steel?
Steel, I'd be happy with an S35 VN, something in that range. I'm not super picky on steel, honestly. Part of that reason is because I don't spend a lot of time sharpening knives. Because there's always a sharp knife somewhere within reach. Yeah. But I just do like a good S35 VN, and then handle material. I love micarta. So
micarta is micarta is some of my favorite handle material. Like if you could put micarta on it, I'm down.
I like it when we inlay. We have some that are micartas laid over titanium. I like that quite a bit. I don't like a raw titanium. I do. It
depends on the knife. I was gonna say it depends on the knife too.
Yeah, you're right. But it's cold and it's hard and there's something just comforting about micarta.
I've gotten back to the micarta now that liner locks are being done so much better. I've gone back to liking the micarta so much because it does give you that grip, even if your hands are wet. Especially if micarta gets wet, those natural fibers still swell up, and you'll actually get more grip. Thomas Mata asked my thoughts on nitro. I'm not a big fan of Nitro V. I think there's better steels. I was going to mention it because I saw him post that 14C28N, 12C27. Those I would absolutely take either one of those over Nitro V any day of the week. It's a great, great steel. Not just everybody's like, oh, it's a budget steel. I don't care. It's one of my all-time favorite steels. So
I'm going to use any of them, and they're all going to get the job done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the best knife for the job is whatever one you have in your hand.
Yeah.
So, okay, now I have a question that is not on the books.
All right. I hope it's not as hard as the last one.
No, I saved that last one. I saved that last one towards the end because a lot of times, because it's called Beer and Blades, there's a lot of times some of my my knife maker friends will be on here, and by the time we get 2 hours into it, like an hour and 45 minutes, they're like sloppy drunk, and I ask them that question, and they go, "I fucking hate you."
I gotta go back and watch some of them. I'm gonna look for that question.
It's in a bunch of them. I asked Elliot Williamson. Elliot Williamson, instead of being like, "Oh, what," he was like, "Ooh." It's like his first thing was like, I don't have to worry about like how it all goes together and makes it fit. I was like, nope. And he goes, "Oh, I love this."
Yeah.
Hey, you just described my favorite knife, the one in my hand. Yeah. Knife rates. Does We Knife Company donate to? I'm curious. Does We Knife Company donate to knife rights? Doug Ritter and his company.
We have historically donated products and supported them in different ways.
Because that's how a lot of I have a knife maker member card because I donated a couple of knives that I made to knife rights as giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't anything great. Like people are like, oh, you're such a good knife maker. And I was like, no, don't say that. Don't say that. People come looking at you, go, no, put him in the bus. We got to wrap this one up in a I love me jacket. So, so here's where we got like 15 minutes left. What's the funniest thing you've seen at a knife show so far?
Oh my gosh.
These are good.
Probably my favorite. We had a couple, and they were actually both at the same event. One of them, this old gentleman comes up and he grabs one of the knives off our table and he's like, let me see how sharp this is. No. Well, he's fine. He's got a lot of white curly hair on his arm, and he starts shaving it all off, and it just dumps all over my black tablecloth.
Like, fucking thanks, Santa Claus. Santa Claus is a dickhead.
I'm like, come on, man. And he's rubs it off, and he's like, yeah, that's a great knife. Like,
that's a good knife right there.
Thanks, man. It's not funny, but it's hilarious at the same time when people do cut themselves, because we bring all the knives that we bring to the show are extremely sharp. They've all got great factory edges on them. At the Blade Show a couple of years ago, I was sitting there, and we always bring Band-Aids to the show.
Yeah.
Like most of the exhibitors do, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, a guy comes up.
First aid kit.
Yeah, exactly. A guy comes up, and he's got his hand kind of like this, and he goes, hey, you got a napkin? And I'm like, no, I don't have any napkins. Like, I was like, oh, did you cut yourself? I got a Band-Aid. He's like, no, I'm gonna need some napkins. And he's holding a pool of blood in his hand. So that one was pretty good. He got himself pretty good.
I did something good here at the house.
Yeah.
My buddy Tino filmed it. It was on the YouTube channel, but I was sharpening a fillet knife. And the knife, I put the stones in my hand so I can get a convex edge when I freehand sharpen. And the knife slipped off, and it went under the stone that was in the palm of my hand. And it went in here, but it came out over here. And I grabbed it. And he goes, did you cut yourself? I was like, yeah. And he was like, do we need to go to the emergency room? And I was like, I don't know yet. And I took my hand, because I felt it go in and out. I knew that I had stabbed all the way through my hand.
Oh, jeez.
And I take my hand off of it, and I look at it, because every knife guy that's ever cut himself knows this immediate response. Like, I drop the knife, and I'm like,
yep.
I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at that, because I know it's bad.
It doesn't hurt that bad, but that
right? Oh no, it fucking hurt. And so I take my hand off of it when we both look at it, and he goes, oh, that's good. He's like, do you need to go? And I was like, no, I don't really think so. And he goes, wait, it's bleeding in two places. Like, oh, that's where it came out. And he goes, what the fuck, bro?
It was a clean exit.
Cleaned it up, put a bandage on it, and I finished sharpening his knives. He goes, what the He's like, bro, you don't have to do it today. I was like, I already got the stones out. I'm really like, I already cut myself, so I'm going to be cautious. He's like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
That's a good one.
But I had a full on in and out. You can't really see it, but you can see where it went in. You can see the line where it went in. But it went all the way through. And it was like a good inch and a half through. And he was like, fuck, dude.
Dang. I had one kid that came up to the table at a show, and he grabbed a knife and he flips it over to a reverse grip, and he starts doing this stuff, and I'm going, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm going, oh, I'm like, it's not a great idea. I'm like, I feel like you might hurt yourself. He puts the knife down, grabs the new knife that Tony Sentmanat designed, the Orthrus, which is that 2-position fixed blade karambit thing.
Yeah.
It's sharp everywhere.
Yeah, it's not. That's not a plaything.
It's not a toy, man. He picks that thing up, and not 2 seconds later, he puts it down on the table, and his hand goes in his pocket. Hand in the pocket. I'm like, bro, you need a Band-Aid? He's like, no, I'm good, and just walks off.
No, I'm good. Like he's like fingers like hanging off and shit. He's like, no, I'm good. I saw a dude stab himself in the hand at the Bastinelli table. I was standing right next to him. So you know the Bastinelli Mako?
Yeah.
It's got a very curved blade, and it's got that little like wave feature, but the tip is just almost level with that wave feature.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude did the thing where like he snapped it off of his hand, and he snapped it off of his thumb and proceeded to come back and stuck it in the back of his, and he dropped the knife and does that shit like you saw his eyes get real big. And I saw it happen, and Bastion was off getting something, and I think it was his wife was at the table, was watching the table while he was off, and Nicholas was there, and we both I see Nicholas, and Nicholas looks at me, and I'm like, he got himself, and Nicholas is like, Nico was like, okay. I forget how you said what in Spanish or in French, but he looked at me. He's like, and I was like, oh, he cut himself. And he's like, no, it's not that bad. And I'm like, I fucking saw it.
Yeah.
Like I saw that knife like went all the way in his hand. And he's like, no, it's not that bad. I was like, it's bad. He takes his hand off of it. He's like, no, I'll be okay. And I see it. And it's like his body had not started. His body didn't realize it was time to bleed yet. And I just see this gaping hole in the back of his hand. And he's like, he goes, no, it's not that bad. He takes his hand off of it, and it's just like white meat. And then it was like, and I see him look at it, and he realizes how bad it was. He's got a hole in his hand, and then it just goes, and just blood starts pouring out of his hand. And I was like, told you. And there's blood all over the table. Bastion comes back, and he's like, what's going on? Like, the dude stabbed himself. They had to take him in an ambulance. Like, it was bad. He got himself so bad.
Wow. I don't know, man.
It was, I was like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, I've walked up on our table, and I'll pick up a knife, and and I'll pick it up, and there's like blood all over the blade, and I'm like, well, shoot, like, what happened to you bleed on it? You buy it. Somebody freaking bled all over it and then walked off.
Cut yourself with it, you bought it.
That's
and
right.
We definitely recommend you handle all of our knives. I'll tell you what. I have the question for you. How many things have you seen come up missing or had come up missing? Because California Custom Show, they had a couple expensive knives walk off.
Mm-hmm.
I think they wound up finding them, but like that happens at every show. But what's the craziest thing that you've seen disappear from you guys' table at a show?
We keep all of our, like expensive showpiece knives under glass.
Under glass, yeah.
Yeah, so we haven't ever lost anything like a $1,300 knife or anything like that. Which we'll usually only bring a few of those to the show, but the one that stands out to me, just for some reason, it was at Blade Show 2 years ago. We had the new prototypes out for the Baby Banter.
Okay.
And we had two of them at the show, and somebody was told that they could buy the prototype at the end of the show, and they came by and there was no prototype to be found. So that prototype had walked off during the show, and everybody was kind of upset because it was like a brand new thing, it was a prototype that wasn't out yet. This one person had been promised that they could buy it off of the show. They were super excited about it, and it was gone. So we just put the word out and said, hey, if you guys if anybody in the industry ever finds a Baby Banter that says prototype,
let us know.
That's one of two. It's either legal or it's illegal. It's one of the two.
I have gotten over the years a handful of prototypes that were made by we.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all in my knife case. As a matter of fact,
that's cool.
I customized this one. This is one of the few and only Stengers, Farrenforge Stengers in 9CR, because it was a prototype.
Ooh, yeah.
And
yeah.
I did a black and red ceramic on it.
That's cool.
So yeah, I have it actually, like I said, this Min-Axe. This was a prototype.
Mhm.
So Elliot will give, because Elliot like respects my opinion on a lot of stuff, and he's like, hey, tell me what you think about it. Throw it in your pocket, carry it for a while, and then when I go back to the house, here's your prototype. He's like, man, I got like 10 of those. Keep it. I don't need that.
Yeah, I usually end up carrying a lot of prototypes just because, you know, when they come in for a show or something like that, and we don't sell our prototypes anymore at the shows or anything, and I don't want to carry a sample that can be sold, so I'll a lot of times just end up carrying prototypes until I'm done.
I don't own any of my custom stonefish. I own one of the prototypes. I gave one to Elliot because he did the CAD for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent one to another channel that loved one of the customs. I got permission from the guy that had me make the knife. I got permission from him to send his knife to another YouTuber. And they liked it so much, they were trying to buy it. I'm like, I can't. It was made specifically for this person. And so when the prototypes came out, I sent them one. So there were, I had
cool.
3 production prototypes of the stonefish, and I have one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And same with my artisan design sea snake. I have just the prototypes. So it's kind of cool. Like it's cool to have those. Like I say, hey, these were the ones that came off the line before anyone bought them.
Yep. And nobody else really has those, you know, a couple other people.
Oh, hey, I have a question because somebody said something about it. Do you guys have to get insurance for the show for product that might get stolen? Or do you just have to eat that?
We don't have an insurance that covers theft at the show. No.
Oh,
that's anything that's stolen at the show. It is just eaten by the company.
So just so you guys know, if you steal from a knife company at a show, you're a fucking dick because you're fucking stealing from them. Well, I mean, it goes in the name. you already said you stole it. So, well, I mean, we're just at about the 2-hour mark. You got anything else you wanted to put out that We Knife Company's got coming up? I know. Do you guys still have the pens? Do you guys still have the ink pens?
Yeah, we have a couple pens. There's a pen or two that's under the Wii brand and a couple under the Civivi brand.
But they're still available, right?
Yeah. Yep. We still make them from time to time. It's not a huge part. Actually, we don't make very many of them because we don't sell a ton. But
I'll tell you what, they were like. Doris gave me one for my daughter, and my daughter, that's what she uses for her note taking. I've had to replace the ink filler in that like 3 or 4 times. She loves that little bolt action Civivi Wii. It's the square one that you guys had the glass breaker on the back. She loves that little pen. Like I've had to put an ink filler in that a few times.
That's cool. I'd like to hear that. We're always doing something new is the thing. Like the factory is so efficient and so good at what they do. Like they can take a design, they can create a design, and they have designs. Like one day I want to see Joe's sketchbook. You know, that's one of my life goals. I want to peek inside his, because I know he's got to have something, because he pumps out designs and there's so many great designs. I just kind of want to see like what he's got that's in his head and on paper that we haven't seen yet. But we're always doing something new, and that's kind of the fun and exciting thing. Like we'll come out and we'll show products at the SHOT Show in January. Right, we're gonna have a whole bunch of new prototypes that are unreleased, and we'll show those, and then they'll be released over the next 6 months.
I have yet to get to go to a SHOT Show.
No, they're good, man.
I haven't been to SHOT Show, and I haven't been to Blade in Atlanta. I just can't. I can't afford to. I can't afford the time. I do 5 videos a week, 3 live feeds, and sometimes I do shit on Saturdays. I'm like, I can't take that kind of time.
Yeah, man, you make that content from the road. You make it from the show.
I will tell you, it was miserable. I went up to Garden Grove for the California Custom Show for a Friday night, a Saturday, and a Sunday. And Friday night we filmed just a little bit, because Friday night Blade Affair you can't film. It's like that's the VIP thing. That's where I go hang out with Bob Terzuola and Tom Mayo and some of those guys at their table, because they don't have a table for the rest of the show. And so we go on Friday just so I can see some of the guys out, like Todd Rexford. Like I only get to see Todd Rexford like that Friday night at Friday Night Blade Affair.
Yeah.
And I get to talk to him for a little bit. But so Saturday was the actual show. I had content that was already scheduled all the way up to Friday. To have something that came out on Monday, Saturday night after the show at 2 a.m., I was editing a video.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. Like
Yep.
that's why it's so hard. Like for me to go to Atlanta and film, pardon me, a knife show and then have content so that there's no gap, because that 5-day-a-week schedule, YouTube doesn't like it when you deviate. Once you've set that, if you start going to like 2 or 3 days a week, they're like, oh, he's not putting out as much content. We're going to kick him down the algorithm. So you basically are stuck doing that. So for me to do that, I have to film a week in advance, which means that I'm already doing 5 videos. That means for that week, I have to do at a minimum of 10 videos. And then maybe 13, because I might have to have the time to configure stuff. I had 3 videos out of California Custom Show, and there's probably another 3 videos worth of footage that I just couldn't use, that I'm still fucking around with, trying to change the audio and scrub things and try to fix it so that I can use it. So it's really hard. Like everybody's like, oh, you've been to so many shows. And I was like, yeah, but it sucks. You wind up getting 0 time off. I basically, tomorrow will be the first day I've taken off since before California Custom Show, which was almost a month ago.
Yeah. Wow. What are you doing on your day off?
I'm going to take my wife and kid to the airport because they fly to Japan. It's not really a day off. I'm taking it because I'm going to take it because I'm going to sleep in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because after this, I'm going to do movie night with my paying members. But yeah, it's people don't realize it. It's like just to even do like 5 15-minute videos a week. There's like I did a 30-minute like start to finish sharpening from 2 cameras, 2 camera angles. I perfectly synced it. I didn't talk. I did all the audio and stuff for a 48-minute video, and it took me 7 hours to edit it.
I would have guessed more. I mean, that's for a 30-minute video.
At this point, doing like 5 videos a week.
Yeah.
5 videos a week. I've gotten pretty good at my editing software. I'm pretty good at yeah, I got it. And I can look when I drop a file in, I'm like, that audio is not going to fucking work. I'm going to have to go film that section again. So before I even play it, I can see it like as it goes across the bottom of that graph of like the audio. I'm like, nope, that didn't work. So, well, I'll tell you what, I had a blast having you here. I definitely will swing by the Wii table at the next knife show that I get to attend.
For sure, man. We'll love to have you. Just come spend some time with us. And keep me informed, man. What do you need? What do you need me to hook you up with? What can I get in your hands? You know?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the same thing I've told every other company. Whatever you guys want to see on the channel, I'd be absolutely happy with. I give I'll tell you, I give every knife an honest opinion. There's no knife that gets, well, there's one, the Deadlock, that got a perfect score. Every knife, if you're being honest, every knife's going to have a positive and a negative. But the fact is, like, just because I don't like it doesn't mean that the people that are watching it won't like it. So I just like to point out the things like I hate most pocket clips. Everybody knows that. And so when I say, hey, this is a pretty good pocket clip, it's probably a really, really good fucking pocket clip because I hate almost every pocket
all of them.
I told Sal Glesser a bunch of times, I'm like, Sal, I really hate the fact that you made this a thing. Like, this is on every knife. I both love the idea of it and fucking hate the fact that it exists. Because it just ruins the ergos on every knife. Every knife. It could be the best knife ever. You throw a pocket clip on it, you're like, it's a fucking pocket clip. So, yeah, this has been fun. If you want to come on again and talk about anything that comes up new, absolutely just let me know. It doesn't even have to be like we don't have to do it as a full thing. You could just like drop in on Friday night and be like, hey, I'll just text me. I'll be like, all right, I'll send you a link and you just drop in sometime and just show whatever's new.
Sounds good. Sounds good, man. You still got anybody on here?
Oh, we got like 21 people.
You want to give something away?
Do you guys want to do a giveaway? Fuck. God damn it. Now I'm high. We could. All right, don't go anywhere, guys. I guess we're gonna do a giveaway. What are you gonna give away? Oh Jesus, I gotta.
Look, I don't. How do you do?
Okay, I usually do random number. I say, all right, everybody pick a number between 1 and 60.
Okay. All right.
And then whoever comes closest without going over, wins the knife. And then they get in contact with you, and then they have to get it sent to them.
Okay.
That's how I usually do it.
It's tough, man. Like, we try to do giveaways on our YouTube channels quite often. We're actually running one right now on the Big Banter video.
Really?
And they're full of, what's that?
I didn't know you guys had a. Let's see. I don't watch. I don't watch much knife content. And by the time I get done with 16 hours a day, between 8 and 16 hours a day on this, I don't really want to watch knife videos.
I know what you mean. Man. I'm the same way. But we on our channels, we just do like overviews of new products as they're released. So like once a month, we'll put out a video for each new model.
You know what? We should do a collaboration where I do a video every month on you guys' channel of a knife that you guys sent me.
Love it.
Do you remember, like Ben? Like, remember how Ben and them used to do the videos on Blade HQ, and Nick did knife gripes?
Yeah,
that would be something we could do. The Mike's Wee Knife Corner or something like that. That'd be funny.
You can complain about pocket clips.
I fucking hate them. Okay, so here's how I usually do it. I'm gonna pick a number and I'm gonna write it down because you saw I drank that whole bottle of water already. I'm gonna forget it. So I'm going to write down a number, and we're going to, I don't want to have to tell you guys this more than once. Everyone gets one entry. You can't start typing in a number till I type in the word go and say it. And when I say stop, the numbers stop. Please. I don't have that kind of attention span.
They're going to keep going.
One entry. You have to be. It's going to be a number. If you guys start typing numbers, I'm going to fucking shut it down. It's a number between 1 and 60. I will type the word go in the comment section and say it. That's when you start. When I type the word stop, only the comments between there are going to fit. Oh boy. I got an idea. Just fuck it. They all lost. I win. Give it to me. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna give this one away. This is the unreleased Tough Knives OD22, I think it's called.
Whichever one of you win this, you have to send that to me so I can put it on the channel.
It's also your 14C28N. Damn, and yeah, so this will go out to the winner. I don't know, how am I gonna get in touch with the winner? How do we do that?
It's not that hard. They'll get in touch with me. You guys know how this works. You just email me with a screenshot of your YouTube channel, and then just send that to me at my email, gunmonkey1974@gmail.com. I've had that email since I was in the military. So that's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna type the word go and say it. After that, you guys pick a number between 1 and 60, and then I'm gonna give you guys about 30 seconds, one entry each, and then when I type stop and say stop, then you guys can stop. I will count all of them between those 2 points. So in 3, 2, 1, go.
And after the delay, they're probably coming in right now.
Yeah, it jumps. Trueware's currently the. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Will B is currently the closest. Ouch! I dropped that on my toe. And stop. So from go to start, the number was 30, by the way. The number was 30. If I'm looking, yeah, Will be one of my paying members. It's easy. I can get a hold of Will anytime. He's on my Gilded server. I talk to him all the time. He's probably going to be on movie night tonight. So Will, you won that. I'm surprised that there's 23 people here and there wasn't that. No, that might have been 23. I was from the country. I ain't good at them maths.
Some of them like, I never win. I ain't gonna try.
Oh, so Will said to have you send it to me first.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, he said here. So he doesn't. Everybody's like, "Hey, he's fucking bullshitting." Right there. Will says, "Mike, have him send it to you first." So I guess I get to see it. Man, that's good. I like that. Will, it's gonna be a while before you get it. I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you.
Hey, at least it's going to good hands first.
I would say, how about you take it, Will, and then because I'm gonna fuck it up. Like it's not coming to you in mint condition. It's gonna be jacked because it looks like it wants to cut cardboard, and I'm gonna make it cut cardboard.
I ain't gonna let it.
I dropped my Wii incisor on my toe.
Oh,
it's heavy. So, well, I'll tell you what. It's been a blast, Seth. We'll do this again. Like I said, I don't mind having company reps. Like anytime you just let me know, and
cool.
I'll put you up. We'll just pick doesn't even have to be a Friday. We can do it on a Wednesday because you're only an hour. You're only an hour ahead of me. You're not like some of the other guys that I try to collab with. They're like, bro, that's so late. I'm like, bro, you're so fucking old. Do you know Tom? Do you know Tom Mayo? Do you know Tom Mayo?
I don't.
World famous knife maker, grumpy old bastard. He lives in Hawaii. I love him to death. I was trying to get him to be on my Knife Rights part of the 24-hour. We do a 24-hour like marathon live feed. Like it's 1 hour on 24 separate channels from like 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I was like, Tom, I want you because I love Tom. He's like one of my favorite people in the world. He's a big grumpy bastard, but he's hilarious. And I was like, Tom, I want you on my live feed. And he goes, well, what time? And I was like, well, it's 4:00 in the morning for me. And he goes, he's like, motherfucker, I'm in Hawaii, right? I was like, you say you don't want to? He's like, goddamn right, I'm saying I don't want to. He's like, maybe we'll record something. I was like,
yeah.
I was like,
maybe
he's hilarious.
That's awesome. No, it's been awesome, Mike. I appreciate you having me. It's been fun. Thanks to your audience as well. Thanks for watching, guys.
I have a good audience. They're always a lot of fun.
That's cool.
So yeah, guys, that's the end. I'm gonna try and get this up on Apple Podcasts sometime in the next year. It takes me a while because it's such an Apple. If you're watching this, your podcast system fucking sucks. It's really hard to upload shit too. So yeah, guys, that's it. If you are watching this or listening to this on a podcast, there'll be a link to the full video if you want to see that, because there's things that just don't translate to audio that well. Guys, if you're a paying member, I'll definitely be doing movie night tonight. I'm quite caffeinated. So, yeah. Seth, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to end this, but don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you real quick in the backstage.
All right. Sounds good, Matt. So, thanks.
Guys, I had Giggle Grass juice. I'll be on here all night if I don't just stop. So I'll see you all later.